Want to give us a piece
Yeah.
that you put them all together? Yeah, magnificent.
Thank you.
I've seen you in more recent years working on large projects, film projects and Broadway shows. And I remember you did Sugar Babies, right? You did
Yeah,
the score for that originally?
I was the orchestrator of Sugar Babies, yes.
Was that a challenge for you, or had you been doing other things like that?
Well, things had kind of led up to that. That was the first Broadway show that I was asked to do. And although I've contributed a couple of arrangements to some things since. That was the first full-time job, and it was the only complete Broadway show that I've done, really. It was a nice experience. I enjoyed it, learned something.
Did Ralph Allen get you into that? Was he the
Ralph
guiding?
Allen did, but I think I was introduced to Ralph Allen by Artie Malvin, who was one of the original. Well, I can't say composers. I think the basis of the show, Artie Malvin, who was a singer I often worked with in those days for the Ray Charles singers. I think Malvin was one of those people who wrote Sugar Babies, who invented the whole idea of bringing back in really an old-time burlesque format a vehicle for Mickey Rooney and
Miller.
And Miller.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. And I suppose I qualified because I was known to be sympathetic to music of the 20s, and much of the show was in that style. But I learned after a while it wasn't supposed to be authentic. It was not supposed to. At times I tried to make it that, but at other times it got to be more like Broadway, really, than the music of the 1920s.
I remember Mickey Rooney played the piano and played well, but it was in the key of E or some strange thing like that, right?
He had a freakish ability, which I never really explored or seen how far he could go. He was a good piano player for whatever he chose to do, and that was very impressive. A very talented guy.
Amazingly talented guy. The other, some of the other projects I know you've done some Woody Allen movies. You've
Well, I did a
scored
bunch of Woody things,
Yeah.
and my roles in those films were any of the following, and often in combination. I was the composer, I was the arranger, I was the conductor, I was often the pianist, although just as often was my friend Derek Smith, and occasionally Bernie Layton, who played the piano parts. And that was a vast learning experience. I guess I was involved in one or another of those capacities for, I don't know, maybe 12,
Wow.
12, 14 shows, one way or another. Some less demanding than others.
The other situation that I got to watch you close hand was that 100 Years of Eubie Blake.
Oh, you remember that?
At the Kennedy Center.
Well, you were a very big part of that.
Well, I was thrilled to be there and so forth. I think I was acting as rehearsal pianist for you and in some capacity and so forth.
Yeah, but you had such personal knowledge and a friendship with Eubie that you're absolutely unique. We had to get you.
I appreciate that. That was really something, and that particular show that was a PBS thing done right before Eubie died, so it was 100 years. I think it was done in December, down at the Kennedy Center. But I was watching you put together all of these arrangements for this array of different performers and different styles and all the different people. I mean, it was everything from, you had Cab Calloway.
Yeah.
And you had, all of these various Broadway performers, and then you had the Morgan State Choir, which you had to arrange a couple of pieces for them. And one was a brand new piece that you found in.
It was Eubie's piece, which we then arranged to have a lyric set to by Sammy Kahn.
Right.
What's the name of that piece?
It was well worth the while.
It was well worth the while.
And it was beautiful.
It was a nice piece.
Yeah.
And I don't seem to be able to pull it out of my head right now.
It was well worth the while. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was a lovely Eubie melody Sammy wrote a nice lyric for it, and I guess you're right. The Morgan State people were the choir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did a couple things on that program. What was it, about 200 voices or something like that
Yeah.
along that. And it was, boy, was that a learning experience for me, just to
Yeah, really.
see all that.
Well, it was
that
for
come
me too,
together.
believe it.